2008 Ford Edge. I've got it in here for airbag replacement. There's like a little push tab right here. You got to fit something in. You release a spring while you're pulling on this airbag on the corner right here. As you're pushing inside that little hole, you'll feel like a little spring pressure, and then as you're pulling and pushing at the same time, that airbag will pop out. Do the same thing on the other side. Then it's got a couple little tabs that you got to release the little black center part, and then the airbag connector pops out. So I just put the new updated airbag in there, and I'm going in here. I got to take these two 10 mil anchor bolts out, and then once I pull that out and push the airbag, from underneath here, push the airbag out, disconnect the connectors, put the new airbag in. This is also the same spot that you find your cabin filter on these. They're a little tricky. Sometimes they don't release right away. But the cabin filter's in there, and it is completely, absolutely completely plugged up. Probably, oh my God. That is the worst cabin filter I've ever seen in my life. Actually, this is probably one of the worst vehicles I've ever actually dealt with in general. All four wheel bearings are howling. The brakes are screeching. It seems like the center support is grinding in this thing. The engine's making noise. The strut towers are popping from side to side. There's a clank that's a tie rod assembly that you can feel when you shake the wheel back and forth. This is one of the worst vehicles kept up that I've ever seen. One of the rear tires is leaning out real bad, and the customer said, no, just do the recalls. I don't want nothing fixed. Not even concerned with safety or anything, just put it back on the road. Well, that's what I'm doing. No inspection needed. Customer has already declined all work before even knowing how severe it is. I mean, he clearly made it known to the service writer. I don't care, just fix it. Fan motor. This is one of the ways you can check your fan as well. You can reach down in here and shift this back and forth and try to feel, and I can feel the bearings in the fan assembly. They're, oh wow, trash. Anyhow, yeah. Don't inspect anything, I don't care, just do the recalls. Roger Dodger. And for any of you that are interested, how I ended up, I unclipped the glove box and then I pushed in the sides right here real hard. The glove box slid down. And then there's this pre-tension, this cable right here. It has a slot that slides into the side of the glove box. You got to push the glove box up and slide the slot down, pull it out, and then let it go back up in here. And then when you put the glove box in, before you fasten it in completely, you slide that in and then snap everything together. Just anchor the bottom in, slide the little pre-tension tab in, and then snap everything back. But again, the customer already said, I don't care, I want no repairs done. Now once you get inside here, you're gonna have to undo these connectors. You're supposed to unhook the battery and let it sit for about 30 minutes, but ain't nobody got time for that. Old one out, new one going in. You gotta make sure you record your numbers on the airbags on this recall. Number underneath it, SPA. The SPA numbers you need for purposes of making sure the warranty was done. So it's SPA 200713517. Some of the boxes actually have that number on there, but you need to verify that it's on the box, stamped outside. And then you record the old number as well. They're really just interested in the old number, not the new number. Or wait, the new number, not the old number, because the old number is going to get recalled back to the factory anyway, so they'll be able to verify whether or not you did it. They just want to make sure you're recording the new number to make sure the right airbag is going in the right vehicle. Let's continue. So then when you get it in, you notice the holes aren't lined up. You're gonna have to grab it here. And have to push the bottom of the airbag like that, and then they line up. Good to go. Screw everything back in. These can be a little deceiving when you go to put these bolts back in there. You'll think they're tight, they're really not. Just watch your socket, it'll still keep turning. Now it's done. I use this one because this one puts the perfect amount of torque. When it's done, it's done. Line your little tabs up at the bottom down. And grab your hurry up and do a hurry up. I was saying hurry up like me, hurry up. Key cycle, make sure your airbag light stays off. Airbag light clear. No airbag issues. Alright, job done. Put everything back together, ship it. This is that Takata airbag recall 19S01 and 21S12. 19S01 is the passenger side big airbag, and 21S12 is the airbag in the steering wheel. So that's complete, and that's it for this video. Appreciate y'all. Leave me your thoughts on how unsafe people keep their vehicles, and just how crazy it is that they don't ever want anything fixed. They just want to run it until it breaks down or falls apart somewhere. Be blessed. Well, I just got done with my first job, so now we roll into, maybe we'll just do like a day in the life, like just to show you guys in one day. They were gonna put me on another vehicle, and then this one came in, and this is more important, and they want me on it because I've done a lot of these. It's a 2018 Ford Escape, black, 58,809 miles. Customer states vehicle will not start at times and check engine light is on. Has to crank multiple times before starting. Once vehicle is started, you can hear a squeaking coming from the engine. Service history: at 40,000 miles, it had an oil change. At 52,000 miles, it had an oil change. So it looks like they're way over on their OCIs. And max, Ford says, is 10, but we all know that it should be more like 5 max, on the, especially on these EcoBoosts. And then, well, it's an SE front wheel drive. It could be a 2.5 liter, I don't know. And now it's at 58 with no oil change. So it looks like they're not really maintaining the vehicle properly, but we do know these EcoBoost engines have problems. So let's roll into that and let's see what we got. Okay, here she is. Let's see what we got going on here. Started right up. Let's get out and do our preliminary checks here. A lot of times people will bring their vehicle in before it runs out of warranty because they know there's a notorious problem with the vehicle, and they'll try to get, you know, maybe they're not experiencing the coolant intrusion yet or something like that. And yep, coolant level is low, and the motor sounds kind of rough. Well, the next step is going to be going and driving it. Ooh. That's gross. Somebody's chicken got tore up here in the parking lot. Probably a coyote. Because there's a guy over there that trains people that don't know how to hunt. He has a bird farm, and he'll let the birds out into the field back there, and then as they go out there and they spread, he will take people out and train them how to properly bird hunt and pheasant hunt and all that other stuff. Well, first things first, obviously the vehicle's been driven with a check engine light. I want to drive it and actually experience whether or not it's misfiring or anything like that under these conditions, because it looks like we're going to be putting a short block in this, possibly. Just so you guys know, the train of thought here is to bring the vehicle into the dealership warm, you know, have the engine nice and warm, hot, and put it under pressure. And you have to sometimes let it sit up to 6 hours. So this is actually going to take up some space somewhere, probably one of my stalls, my flat rack probably. I need to keep my truck rack up and going. And what I'll end up having to do is put like 20 pounds of pressure on the coolant system and let it sit there. A lot of people can pick it up right away with coolant loss, but seeing as this vehicle has 58,000 miles on it, and this is the first time it's been in the dealership for coolant loss, it's probably going to take a long time for it to show itself. So either it's a specified drop in pressure in a certain amount of time, check engine light on with a certain code present, or losing coolant. And it's definitely losing coolant, and this is one of the engine blocks that you guys have seen the history of me doing over and over again here at the dealership. So basically what I'm doing now is getting it nice and warm, test driving it, gonna go pull codes. But first, the first thing I do when I pull it into the stall is put it under pressure immediately. I have a pneumatic. I don't have to have the hand pump pressure deal. I use a just air operated one. It's much more efficient, and I'll lock it down at about 20-21 psi, and I'll let it sit there and watch for drop. And as it drops, a lot of times it'll start to push coolant if there's a intrusion issue into the cylinders, and I'll be able to monitor by looking at the plugs and how much fluid ends up in the cylinder on what's going on and the codes that are present in the system on whether or not this thing's going to get a short block. Ideally, it's showing signs of the characteristic of a short block right away, so it's pretty inevitable it's going to get a short block. But we'll see. I have to have proof first and do it correctly. A lot of places don't do it correctly. They'll put it on for like an hour, maybe 2 hours, and they won't let it go from a hot soak to a cold soak, and they never see the leak completely. You got to let it sit for up to 6 hours, it says. Most shops don't do that. So I'm going to do it by the book, the way I always do it, and the way I'm the most successful, and I don't ever have people saying. And then, you know, when you do the job properly, you don't ever have comebacks. You don't ever have people saying, you know, this technician ripped me off or anything like that. They didn't want to do my warranty work. They were not unfair to me. You do it right the first time, and you do it the way it's supposed to be done. You don't have those reoccurring complaints and problems. So that's what I intend to do. I've been successful with being honest since I've been in, and I don't plan on changing any of that anytime soon for nobody. So there's Mr. Hawk. Okay, let's get back to the shop. Well, it never fails in a dealer fashion. I get back, I start getting set up, get my pressure tester and everything set on here, and then the boss comes out and is like, hey, yeah, we got some time on this vehicle. You think maybe the running boards and stuff are seized on this one over here, and the washer pump, we can hear it and see it spraying, like dripping out, but nothing spraying out of it. So I came over here in the meantime while they're doing the oil change and took some freeze off and sprayed all my fittings and stuff, because the running board motors, they sound like they're working, but it can't because it's all seized up and nasty, rusted in here. So I sprayed everything. I'm gonna try to free them up so the customer doesn't have to buy like $1,000 worth of motors and stuff, probably close to 2 if you do both. But anyway, in the meantime, I got those, let them do the oil change. I'm gonna stay over here, pressure test, check the engine codes on this one real quick, and then move forward. They are just getting done with the oil change right now, and I've already lost right at about 4 psi, and the code that's present in the computer is for the Evap purge flow. This here, the purge valve needs to be replaced. I'll run an Evap test real quick and let it fail, just for shits and giggles, just to make sure that it fails, and then go from there. Hey, no, hey, turn it off when you spray it. Sorry. Go ahead. Yeah, there's no nothing. Yeah, there's no pump turning on or anything. So we gotta... Alright, so now that it's down on the ground, we've got to pry bar over to the pinch weld. Not on the body of the paint or anything, but on the pinch weld. I'm gonna have him crack the door so the motor starts to try to move, and I'm gonna try to help it down to break that rust and corrosion free while it's sprayed. Hit the door. Close it. Hit the door. Close it. Open it. I don't even hear this one working. Go ahead. Hey. Where you going? So now it's starting to... Hold on. You just got to keep working. So we got these running boards freed up on this, kind of. The motors are so weak in them, they've been rotten for so long that the truck has to be running for them to get all of the power they need. So I'm going to have, what I did was I pulled this liner back on this washer pump. And the washer circuit for the washer pump actually runs through the windshield wipers on here. So it's actually built into the motor circuit, and then it gets sent down here. I've got a light hooked up. And I'm going to hit the button. All right, Ant. Ready? Yep. 1, 2, 3, go. All right, good. Needs a pump. Circuit's good. So now on this one, it is leaking coolant pretty bad. This is a double feature depth stack from Amazon. It's only like 60 bucks for it. And if you look here, you can see how there's a spot over here. Coolant, right where the plug comes through, and it's been cleaning that area off. And if you double feature it, spin it around, it's been washing all the carbon away from that side of the cylinder head right there. It's completely gone. Now if you go over here and look at one of these other cylinders,
Make them look real nice. They're gonna paint the treads on.
you can do a side-by-side image. That's this right here. Come on. there, this carbon spot. If you actually hold the camera here long enough, you can actually start to see a little coolant dribble come out of there, right in the center of that, where the head gasket's at. How the carbon's going right there in the middle. Look at the spark plugs. Coolant. 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 Snapped off. Wouldn't come out of the head. Locked up solid. So I gotta order a long block. Well, that came back. Yep. Long story. Well, Mr. Customer showed up and was telling me the story with those running boards, and he says those running boards on that F-150 has been stuck for 2 years and nobody's been able to get them to function or even work, and they didn't want to even attempt to clean the rust and lubricate everything. I did it today. Do it all the time. Got it hooked up. Running boards are working. They're not the best. You can tell that they've been loaded up for a long time and that motor's really been working, but I got them working. So got the running boards working, got the washer pump replaced, and the customer leaves. They turn around and come back. Just moments later, I'm in here doing a smart cost cap on a small block, 1.5 liter EcoBoost, coolant intrusion. Spark plugs won't come out of the cylinder head, literally snapped inside the cylinder head, and the other 3 spark plugs look like snow on the ends of them because they've been burning coolant. And it's super low on coolant, and it dropped when it was warm. It dropped about, it went from 21 psi I think down to like 13 psi or something like that in a matter of like 20 minutes, 25 minutes tops. So yeah, it's leaking, and there was fluid in the cylinder. So it needs a new engine. It needs cylinder head and engine. So I submitted smart cost cap, selected all the items I wanted to see if they're going to tell me to order a short block and cylinder head separately, or are they actually going to order me a long block. So I'm here doing the paperwork on the long block because I thought Mr. Customer had left. All they did was an oil change. I put a washer pump in it and freed up the running boards and stuff and lubricated the hell out of them. Working pretty good, but you can just tell they're not at their top. They go down fast, but it's like they should be going faster than that. They go up decent, but they're a little faster than that brand new. So I'm doing my paperwork, and all of a sudden my manager calls me on my phone. He's like, "Where you at?" And I said, "I'm in the lunchroom." He's like, "Those people with that pickup truck just came back." "Okay. Well, the service rider's looking for you, and I'm going to send him in there so he can talk to you." And he stops at the door right here. And he says, "Hey man, those people left, and it said they pulled out of the parking lot and they got to driving. All of a sudden the truck started shaking and jerking and everything else and vibrating, and they barely got the truck back to the shop." And okay, what does that have to do with me? I literally did the run. Do I have to? I'm putting out fires over and over and over and over and over again. So I go up there, hook up my scanner, P2112, throttle blade stuck, off, closed, whatever it was. Clear code, jump in the truck, back out of the truck. My computer's still sitting here. I get out on the road, 6 miles into my 8-mile drive, and right before I get to the shop, I go to take off from a red light, and it's hill start descend, everything else, blah blah blah, malfunction on the dash, the 1,000 RPM, just completely derated into safety mode or limp mode. I kind of got it down the road a little bit, pulled over in a parking lot, shut the vehicle off, turned the vehicle back on. All of a sudden, check engine light went away, everything was good, truck run like brand new, get back on the road, go up the hill to the dealership, get in it pretty hard to kind of get up some speed in case it does it again, pull into the dealership. I'm like, yeah, this thing is throttle body malfunction, so I'm going to need to do that. And then the service writer is like, oh, by the way, yeah, they have a brake master cylinder recall as well, and they have the unintended tailgate opening recall for the truck. So the customer's like, okay, look, just get everything done. We don't need the truck until tomorrow afternoon. Okay. All right. Okay. My manager comes down and says, hey, I got a tow link job as well. Another 20S62. You think you can knock that out before you go home? I can't freaking breathe today, man. It's one car, and then another car, and then another car, and... Okay. So, I mean, I could try. Sure. But I really got to worry about the stuff that I already have. I will get to it, but I just don't know when. It might be first thing in the morning. It might be tonight. So, I get the customers with the F150 out. They're headed home. I get the parts and stuff I need. I come back to the truck, and I'm looking at this big giant box on the ground. I'm like, what the hell is that? I take the paperwork off the top of it, and I look, and I'm like, brake booster? What the hell is it? I don't need a brake booster. I need a master cylinder. What is going on today? Seriously, man. I want to freaking scream and cry and yell and everything else. So I grab the booster, and I go back in there. I'm like, hey, can somebody fix this, man? Can somebody just give me the right parts I need for this recall? And then I go back out to the shop, to my toolbox, to try to reset myself. I've got my throttle body now. And then I get my my tailgate harness for the recall for that, and then service manager or parts manager comes out a little bit, and he says, hey, I fixed everything for you. I got it. Here is the parts you needed. Sorry about so and so. He must have had a hiccup and just gave you the wrong stuff. I don't know what happened. Okay, thanks for fixing that for me. Hey, so and so semi-skill, do you think maybe you could go down there and knock this tow link job out for me? You're not doing anything right now. I kind of really don't feel like it. Are you doing anything right now? No. I'm supposed to be looking at a used car right now, but they don't know where the keys are. Well, you think maybe you could go knock this out right now without me telling you to go do it? No, I really don't want to do it. Okay, I see how it is. Everybody wants to come and get me when there's a problem to put out the fires every single day, teaching, mentoring, and everything else. But when I need something, when I'm covered up to the point where I'm literally about to freaking explode on somebody, no, I just don't feel like it. And the dude stood around for the last hour doing not a fucking thing. Yeah. I'm ready to scream. I am ready to freaking scream. So what do? Go put it on the rack, put the tow links and stuff in, take it down to the alignment rack, finish the alignment, take it outside, do all the paperwork and stuff, set up a service writer's test. And now I'm here 6:30 at night trying to finish up paperwork. I'm about to go back on here and try to see if I can get something done on this customer's truck before I go home, and I am just freaking exhausted. It's more the mental exhaustion than anything. It is me so mentally exhausted right now. I'm ready to freaking explode. Just... I don't even know what to say. I know tomorrow's another day, and I'm very grateful and thankful for what I have. And I really am trying to look through the finer, better... look at the positive side, the silver lining. But some days, man, I just want to walk away from all this shit and go home and don't come back. Or go to my own shop where I make the rules, I play the cards. I'm the one that decides who gets the full house when I have control of what's going on, to control the chaos in my life. Because I think I just do way too much for people in general. Yeah. I appreciate y'all watching my day. This was a little bit different type of video. It's a lot of stuff all in one. I just wanted to know, maybe this excites her, or maybe this is pretty cool to see one entire day just in one video. So there's not multiple uploads throughout the day and you're like, what the heck? Anyhow, take care, guys. And good morning to you. Even though it's at night for me, good morning to you. I appreciate you. I really do. Thank you for being here.